Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Participants are flowing in, but I would like to kick off the event. So I hope you're having a great day, and thanks a lot for joining us on the video strategy and storytelling webinar. I hope you'll have fun, but also learn something valuable or useful throughout the webinar. I'm Daniel. I'm a co-founder of Playu, and throughout my career, I've done quite a few video projects. I'm a technology and gaming enthusiast, and I'm joined here with my dear friend and colleague Thomas, creative director at Playu, who's got a lot
Everyone,
of hi Tom, who's got a lot of experience in project management, and I believe he's a passionate musician. Is that right, Tom?
thank you, Dan. Looking for it. And thanks for introduction.
Thank you, Tom. I think right off the bat, I would want to say that I want to try to make this as interactive as possible. So we have created a few polls, and also I think it would be great if you can introduce yourself in the chat, say where you're from and how you're doing. And there is for those who are not super familiar with Zoom, if you open up the panel, there is a Q&A section, and in the Q&A section, you can throughout the whole webinar place your questions. And of course, when we get to the nitty-gritty, through the practical part, I believe you'll have more questions, but we'll try to answer them as soon as possible. So yeah, anytime, feel free to drop your question, and we'll definitely get to it. So we have one chat here from you, Tom, and Felicia. Hi, Felicia. Nice to meet you. Perfect. So I think the first, let's say, important thing for us is to learn why you have joined the webinar. So Tom, could you help me here moderate and launch the first poll so we can learn why people join the webinar? I think that's a really good information for us.
The first poll is launched.
Thank you. So we're going to wait for the results a little bit. So I think maybe we can close the poll now and share the results. There is a message from Abhishek. Hi, Abhishek. It's nice to meet you. Great to see a fellow video marketing strategist, and Felicia as well from an agency. Great. Yeah, I hope we can be an inspiration for you. So how are we looking with the poll, Tom?
Yes, the poll is closed. I just shared the results. So we have like a 90% participation, which is fantastic. The winning point is I am already using videos and I want to get better at it.
Oh, that's great. That's great to
47%. And then I'm curious about storytelling. 35% of the answers, and others reasons 12%, and 6% for I want to start using videos in my marketing.
Great, thanks a lot, Tom. So just to make this a little bit more precise for us, can we quickly launch another poll to know a better direction of how to go through the webinar and help you as much as we can?
So it's definitely the first answer. The second answer, the first answer that wins. Client external communication, marketing, sales, hiring, PR, customer care, or similar.
How many percent do we have there?
67%.
67%. Okay, so quite balanced.
Yeah.
Okay, great to know. Great to know. Yeah, I was a little bit suspecting that the external communication will be the dominant one. Great. So thanks a lot for the input, and just a very brief introduction on the company, of course. So we are a video marketing agency and production in one, and we help our clients achieve their goals with digital communication. And we focus almost solely on videos and stories because we believe these are the most effective methods you can use in the digital space. And we've been on the market for around 6 years. And maybe a little fun fact that even before COVID, 70% of our cooperations were done remotely with the clients. So we're on board for the new age. As you can see, we've helped quite a lot of clients. And I just wanted to say here that if you have your own project, I'll be happy to hear about it. So you can get in touch with me on LinkedIn if we're connected, or write to my email. I'll definitely be happy to discuss your project and help you out with that. And yeah, now onto the nitty-gritty part. So the strategy and story canvas. And in here, I would like you to make the decision on the direction that we're gonna do, because of course this is just a tool, and it all depends on the use case and how we fill it out with the information from the customer. So we have to be a little bit imaginative here, but we try to select two use cases that are based on our real clients, and of course staying anonymous throughout this, but we'll be using real inputs from these clients, so it really makes sense, and it's just not let's say imagination here. So Tom, if you can launch another poll here, please, so we can ask people what use case they would like to see. I'm just gonna make a spoiler here. And one of the use cases is focused on financial side of let's say online business, and another use case is focused on industrial company which produces textile. And of course, in these tough times, they're focusing now on masks and respirators.
So we have a great and active participation. Which use case do you want to see the most today? The results are, let's say, more balanced now, and hard to say the winner at this moment. 87% participation.
Great.
And I will close the poll.
Perfect.
95%. Okay. And the winner is industrial company, business to business. Company. To be clear, 52%.
That's great. That's very close one. Okay, so I'll reshare my screen here and jump into the selected use case, and we'll start filling it out. So I think it would be great to first go through the canvas and see what it's all about. So of course, here on the left side, we have the information about the company and the product, which is something that you either fill out yourself for your company or you get it from your client. And of course, we have to start with something here. So a little bit cheating from my side, pre-filling the board here with some information, and I'll go through them in a moment. And then we go from left to right. We discuss the company's goals, which is, of course, extremely important. Then we focus on the target audience, and we try to focus on their problems, on what makes them happy, and how we can address them. This is really closely connected with the main message, because the main message is something that will be very pronounced in our video, and it should be connected with what the target audience is looking for. Because if not, then the message will be weak, and the engagement of your video will drop rapidly. Of course, the main important thing to define here when making this decision on what kind of video to use is defining the funnel, which is something that we'll do right after the company introduction here. And we'll try to imagine, of course, based on the information that I have also from the real case, how the company can communicate. You can, of course, send your input here as well if there's a specific activity that you know that you are doing or you plan on doing, and how it can connect with video marketing. And then we'll try to choose the right formats for each funnel, because in each funnel we communicate with the client differently. So in the first funnel, there are only clients who are hearing about us or seeing our content for the very first time. So we have to just pique their interest. We can go too much into detail. In the think funnel, they may already be making a decision. So we want to be a little bit more descriptive. We want to pinpoint the benefits of the product and the main added value. And of course, in the do phase, we're trying to sell. And the sell often happens through either a platform, or in this case, because the industrial company is a B2B case, it happens with a person. And then also in the last phase, we want to take care of our clients, because raising the, let's say, the value of the client through giving them a great support and great understanding of the products is also a super important part, because if the client doesn't know how to use your product, it's very likely that they will not like the product. They may even return the product. So this phase is also quite important. And last but not least, we'll select one of the videos, and we'll try to create a story outline using a, let's say, best practice method based on Google research. Google YouTube Lab has been doing a ton of research on their videos, and they're, of course, all the time monitoring how videos are effective. There's multiple ways to approach it, but we'll focus on one, which is the emerging story arc right here. And I'll explain that when we get to it. But in short, it's about the dynamics of the story and how we present certain arguments. Right, so let's start with the company. And Tom, if there are any questions or any comments, please let me know. And of course, I'll stop right there and try to answer them.
Yes, everyone, I'm following the chat, so don't be afraid of dropping questions if you have any during the presentation of Dan. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. So what we're looking at here, so we have a company that's, let's say, an innovative industrial company, and it's probably, let's say, a small company, quite small company. And they're focused on textile. They're currently producing masks and respirators because that's what the market is asking. And they see, let's say, a good opportunity in that. And they're based in European Union. They have one office and one small factory. And of course, like I said, it's a B2B business, and their distribution is handled through partners, which is very important, because that's what we're going to focus on a lot. And when it comes to their values, so how they're, let's say, defining themselves, or trying to differentiate from the rest of the market, because at this time there's a lot of demand and a lot of offer for these products. So they're focusing on quality. So their main goal is to create the best quality product. They're investing a lot into innovation and expertise, and they're being very honest with their clients and partners. They're trying to explain basically what makes their product unique and high quality. And when it comes to the products, so right now we're going to focus on one product. Let's say this is what the customer is aiming to develop further and kick off. Currently, maybe their sales are not what they expected, or the partners are not super successful in selling their products. And these are the specific of their products. So they're using very innovative materials, and that also means that they're better than the competition, but more expensive. And so they need to have a good reasoning behind why it makes sense to buy a more expensive product. And the main thing is that this mask or respirator actually protects from viruses, and this is a real thing. I don't know if anyone heard some studies, or how is it in every country, but with some legislations, the respirators and masks that are currently being, let's say, mass shipped and approved, they're mainly tested for filtering bacteria, which is a lot larger than viruses. So a virus can get through, and this, of course, affects COVID. And so their product claims that the virus can go through, and that they're thoroughly tested it and certified it. Right. So any questions here on the company before I go to another section?
I guess you can continue then.
I think we're good here. Okay. So of course, we have the main goal, and then we have certain sub goals, let's say, or the mission of the company is to grow. And or strategic goal. And the goal they're focusing now is to sell more products, like we said, through the partners. So right now, their main focus is to push the partners to be able to help those partners to sell their products. And how they're going to do it, that is a very very tough question, of course. So let's say the direction that after some discussion they can choose is that the main thing how to sell their products is, of course, to explain their value. And in the first place, if they have partners that are selling the products, these partners need to understand the value. So maybe they're doing some sessions with the partners to teach them about it. But of course, at the same time, the end clients, in this case, it's going to be corporate companies. These companies also need to understand the value of the product, and they can't solely depend on the partner to explain this value, because of course the partner is trying to make profit, and they're going to sell, let's say, the most profitable solution for them. And it may not be their product, but if the end client understands the value of the product, and that maybe if they're not buying their product, they're buying something that doesn't protect them, it's very important. So let's jump into the target audience first, and let's try to break it down a little bit. And here I'll start using my stick notes here so we can fill it out. And any suggestions from your side, of course, is appreciated here, since we're a little bit brainstorming here and trying to create the audience, which when you're working with this on your own, of course, you should have a very specific characteristics of your target audience. Knowing the audience is super important. Like I said before, if you want to address the audience and engage them, it's unlikely that you will achieve that if you're not addressing their real problems. And this is one of the most common mistakes with the content that we see out there, that the content is a lot focused on the company itself and how the company is doing things great and so on, but they omit to focus on the need of the end client and, let's say, their real problems. So it's very important to fill this out properly. And in this case, we're going to create a very simplified target audience profile. But let's say a general one. But what would work the best if you're trying to, like really create something useful here, is to create multiple profiles, multiple persona profiles based on your real audience, real customers. And that, of course, is a little bit more complex. We wouldn't be able to make that in time here, but I'll try to show you, let's say, the main aspects of defining the audience. Right, so we're saying that their audience is in European Union, of course, that may play a role as well, and that they're focusing on their partners. And with their partners, ultimately, they want these partners to present the solution to the end client. So this is quite important because, like I said, if the end client doesn't understand the value, and the partner may not be able to explain it, they won't in the end sell the product. And when it comes to the client, so these clients are corporations, maybe, let's say, bigger companies with more than, we could say, 50,000 employees. And of course, in here, they're going to be dealing with the decision makers. So this is actually the end audience that needs to understand the value, right? The decision maker in the company. And with the decision maker, that's a real person. We can imagine the person and try to think about their problems. So their main problems is that they need to protect the employees. And at the same time, they are also using the mask, so they can judge it for themselves. And currently, what they're experiencing is that it's very hard to breathe through their mask. Yeah, it's very hard to work all day long with this mask, and they may be looking for an alternative so they can actually work comfortably. So the comfort currently is a big issue. And in the end, of course, they have some budget, so they're considering the price as well. So we are more expensive than the competition. We know that, and we should address it, of course, and say why we are more expensive than the competition. And here, looking at the gains. So let's say that throughout the day they're bending their masks, they're bending their respirators, and in the end, it's very bad for the respirator because it gets destroyed and the functionality drops a lot. So let's say that they would appreciate, they would be happy if they can fold the mask and have it, you know, in their pocket safely, so it does work actually when they pull it out. And then, of course, we think about our offer here. So in the first case, we're saying that we have the best protection on the market. It's a bold claim. Let's say it's like that. And also that our mask is very comfortable in the sense that the material used is very nicely circulates the air. So it's a good material and it's comfortable. So air circulation is a very important thing here. And yes, we are more pricey, but it really works. And that is super important, of course. We need to think about this a lot. And in here, let's say our material is very durable. Great. So I think we have a good base here to continue with our messages. Although I would want now to try to imagine how we're going to communicate with these partners and the end clients. So we're going to hop on the funnel and the distribution, and then we'll get back to the message and craft it from what we've said here. So connected to the problems and the offer we have. Great. Tom, gonna stop here for a sec. Any questions here? Anything from the chat at the moment?
No specifically. It would be good then if you spend some, maybe a few seconds on explaining what are the funnels, what this diagram means.
Yeah, so I tried to explain earlier that this is the stage of when we get in touch with the client. So for the people who are not familiar with the funnel, it's basically, you can imagine it as a customer journey, right? So let's do an example. So in here, I'm on social media. I see a post. Yeah, there's a post on social media, and through there, maybe I'm motivated. I like what I see. Maybe I'm motivated to go to the website. And in here on the website, there's maybe an article or a landing page, let's say. Maybe that's a better example. So on the web page, there's a landing page that leads me from the article. And in there, I learn a bit more about the product. So in here, I started to be curious. It was the first time I saw this, and I wanted to know more about it. Of course, some people won't, they'll leave. So that's why we're doing continuous posts. We're trying to address these people and make them interested in our product. And in here, in the think phase, they go to the landing page, and they may already consider, yeah, this might be a good solution. So in this case, this would be the end client, let's say the decision maker from a company, searching on his own for a good solution, of course. Or it could be a partner making a research on what's available in there. But of course, in reality, we also connect with the partners through direct contact. So in this phase, the customer is deciding, right? It's maybe a good product, it's a good company. So do I go for it? Do I get in touch with them? And in this case, there is a, let's say, a personal contact. There is a person sitting in there who's answering calls and maybe a sales assistant or someone, and they get in touch with the sales assistant. So a call happens here. And this is the deciding moment. So in the do phase, the customer either buys, or let's say they go back a phase, and then people can start thinking about it again, right? So yeah, maybe I wasn't super convinced, and you need to present more content to them, maybe get a call back again, and you're trying to sell here. And in the last phase, let's say the customer bought the product. In here, they're basically learning about the different aspects of the product. So in the care phase, I'm trying to send them, here are some instructions maybe on the website on how to use the product the best. And also, I'm making, let's say, some posts on social media about proper usage of the product. And so this is something that people, the client, will come across. So Tom, do you think this explanation is so far sufficient? I think I should add something.
Crystal clear for me. I hope everyone agrees. That's an interesting phase of this analysis. This is why I think it needs a few time on it. That's great. Yeah, you can continue then.
Thanks. Yeah, so if anyone has a question, definitely drop it in the Q&A section. So let's continue with our case. So in here, let's say we're doing an activity. So we're connecting through webinars. We're creating some webinars, and we're connecting with the partners here. And on the webinar, of course, we present let's say, do our presentation, and we present what is important about the product and how they can sell it. We do the same on the personal direct contact. Then also some partners from the webinar will end up on the website. So here we have a B2B, let's say, B2B landing page. And in here, it would be great if they would come across, let's say, engaging content that would help them to better understand the product and go for it. And in here, if they like it, if they're considering buying it, they will get in touch. Maybe they will subscribe and call will happen. So looking at this, so what can we do in regards to video marketing? How can we make this a little bit better? So let's say the client currently is doing some posts, and they're trying to promote their webinars here. So it would be great to have, let's say, a video here that is a team member presenting the contents of the webinar, making it a little bit more authentic, making it a little bit more personal. I think it would be a good added value here. Let's say in here on the webinar, they do their thing, but they're also doing a presentation here. And on the presentation, it could be good as well to have a video that really explains the product, dives really into its benefits, and maybe show it on a real use case, how it works. So there's a lot of options here, but a video presentation here could be very useful for them. Okay, let me get back to it. Right. And in here on the landing page, so we have specified, let's say there are two possibilities. So people will come to a posted landing page, and at the same time, people can come from a webinar to the B2B landing page. So in here, we have to have a video, ideally on the web page, because video is a lot more engaging than the text. So we need to have a video that explains the product in detail, so people get the right idea very quickly, and they don't, let's say, right away bounce from the website because they maybe didn't find exactly what they were looking for. So let's say a product video would be a good content here. Right. And here we should think about the audience. So this is a different audience. So we should have a good proposition for the partners. So in here, we're trying to also create a, let's say, a sales video, but we're focusing here on the partners. So we're focusing on what is burning the partners. So now we can think a little bit about, what video formats would fit this. So in the first phase of the funnel, we want to stay, like I said, just piquing their interest, staying light. So in here, usually what's recommended here is to have a video that's around 30 seconds long, and it can quickly explain the things. When it comes to the presentation, it's a little bit longer format for sure, because you need to explain it to the detail, and it's a B2B audience as well, and they're already sitting there. So it can be up to 3 minutes. And let me try to connect it here. Right. So in the second phase of the funnel, in the think phase, the people who came to the website, they're already interested to learn more about the product. They're already maybe interested to start some negotiation when it comes to the partner. And in here, they're willing to watch a longer content similar to the presentation, but it's recommended usually to keep this video within, let's say, 1 minute to 1 minute 30 seconds. And there's a lot of reasoning behind these decisions. And it's, of course, based on a lot of research, for example, from Google or YouTube specifically, or from HubSpot and so on, where they try to monitor how much time people actually spend on the website and how much time they're willing to invest into watching this video. And you have to be very quick in the video. Of course, you have to hit the, let's say, attention span of the people, even though they are already interested. You, in the first phase of the video, you definitely have to attack their needs again and explain why they're on the right webpage, why your product is great, and what it can bring them. So in here, let's say the product video, 1 minute 30 seconds, and the same could go for, let me try to duplicate it here so we can then specify a little bit further. And the same here could go for the sales video. Right. So in reality, we would be considering all of this content and how to design it. Definitely. We unfortunately don't have a time here to work with all of the content here. So we'll try to select one, which would be, let's say, the most effective one. And coming back to the target audience and why I did the funnel here. So we have, in the end, we've defined that our, let's say, really the end target audience and what can make the biggest difference is the decision maker. So if we provide partner with this kind of content, and the partner can present this content to the end client, so it's always a presentation that is consistent, it's on point because we've crafted it, and so we know what the partner will be presenting. It makes the life of the partner easier, and of course it helps the partner in the sales process as well. So there's a lot of benefits to it. And of course, the other content is great as well. And I always say that, we should look at the video as a tool. It's not all saving thing, but it's a communication tool and can communicate things quickly and in an engaging way. So definitely it makes sense to consider creating any of this content that we've quickly defined here, because it can create, let's say, more engagement with the target audience. But in this case, let's select the product video, and now let's focus on this one and try to craft at least the outline of the story and what could be shown in the story. So we come first to the message. So in the message, this really connects with our offer, because we want people to the message is what they bring out of watching the video. So it has to be really strong, and it has to be something that connects with them very well, something that attacks, let's say, their main issue with the current product that they have. So we're saying that we have the best protection on the market. And the question here is, a very important question here is, if it's really something that, you know, people think about a lot. Yeah, if it's something, right, do I have the best protection, or did they just buy the product because they need to wear it? Yeah, which is the current case, unfortunately. So in this case, we need to consider the reality of the target audience. And actually, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here. The researches show that people don't care about the protection so much as they care about the comfort. And that is the reality of this market based on what we know from a real client. So the comfort, an important aspect that we need to push forward. Somehow we also need to have the protection in there because it is the main differentiator that we have. And combining these two would create a very strong message. So, you know, are you, let's say, tired? Yeah, the message could be, are you tired at work wearing a mask? Yeah, could be a good message. Also, did you know that most of the current masks doesn't protect you? So a strong message for sure. And we need to make our decisions here what we will focus on, because that is usually something we start the video with, because it's very important to, like I said, address the real issue there with the audience. And looking at the rest, yes, we are a little bit more pricey, so we will need to address that. So there is the price to be considered here and how we communicate it. So we are more pricey. But this is definitely not something that you will start with, right? Starting a video with, so we are more pricey, but it's not a great way to start a video. So definitely you want to select something which is right away addressing their problem. And you can spend quite a lot of time here crafting the main message, because this is something that has to be like this red thread throughout the whole video, because this is something that will actually sell the product in the end. So normally I would recommend spending a lot of time here and thinking and trying to present some of these messages to your target audience if you can, and see if these are their real issues. But of course, this is reflected a lot in already creating a good persona profiles. So if you have multiple people, multiple customers that are sharing this, it looks very likely that people will react to this argument. So let's say for the sake of keeping this quite simple, our main message here would be that people are not wearing the mask that protects them. And the secondary message to support it would be that it's not comfortable. And we somehow need to combine this very well to create the first part of the video. And that gets me to, let's say, the main part here, how to think about crafting this. So again, I can come back to my other things here in the canvas. And I have my specifications quite well here. So I know I'm creating a product video, and it's going to be, let's say, around 1 minute, 1 minute 30 seconds. So that's one of the things I have to keep in mind. But it doesn't change the fact that I have to be quite quick in the beginning to explain the main added value. I have defined that, you know, people have a problem with the comfort with the mask. And also I have defined that I need to present that my solution protects you really well, that actually other solutions on the market don't protect you so well. And that will lead me to being able to let's say, explain the price. There's also an option, which I would probably recommend to the client, to not mention the price in this video at all, because it's something that you can deal with in the other phase of the funnel. Because if people really like the product, and in this case, it's a B2B segment, B2B market, so it's not like people will buy 10 of these products, right? And they'll read on the package something. It's huge deals. It's usually hundreds of thousands of these products shipped to the end client. So in here, of course, there is the personal touch in there, and then maybe they set up a meeting here rather than a call as well, and they discuss these aspects, and of course they get a custom quote here. So it's not the same as if we would be selling this like a typical B2C product in a package. So in the package, yeah, it probably makes sense to talk about the price. In this case, it would make it harder actually for you to sell if you would already mention that the price is high in the video. So definitely here I would recommend to just mention the quality, and people eventually get that if you're focusing on quality. Having a great quality and a lowest price is not a very likely combination here. So to the structure of the story. So like I said, we're focusing here with the technique of emerging story arc. And to explain this very plainly, very quickly, the traditional story is not efficient anymore. So usually may remember these old movies. They started with this long shot of person walking, or these old commercials from 90s or 80s or even 50s. If you look at Marlboro Man, for example, it's a super long commercial. There's nothing happening at the start. Yeah, it's almost like a movie. So this type of content doesn't work anymore in the overcrowded, oversaturated digital environment. So you need to have something really strong, kick it off strong right in the beginning. And that's why, if you imagine this as a time and dynamics of the story, that's why we have to start really strong, go even stronger. And then when we start actually explaining something, of course, the attention will drop. And ideally, we want to create another bump in the video to spark, let's say, the attention of people. And this is in the story, typically this is called a twist. And within the twist, in the business environment, we usually try to present something that maybe surprises the audience, that maybe a fact they didn't know, or a question that they're already asking themselves. So maybe you're thinking this. Oh, we thought about that. It's solved. So taking it from top to bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have these 5 essential points of the story, which in the end is, of course, the traditional story arc, but a little bit differently positioned within the dynamics. But we start, of course, with the beginning. And the business sense, we want to lay down a problem. We want to address their need. So there has to be something connecting with our message, because this is what we started. This is the strongest we can get, right? And then, of course, to say, right, you're facing these problems, and we have to present that we have a solution here in the second phase. So we have to present our product as a solution to this problem that we set. Of course, it wouldn't make sense to say, right, you're looking for the best protection and and you're getting tired. Well, our product won't solve it. So of course, it's a natural connection here. And in the third phase, this is where the attention drops always a little bit, because we're getting into the detail here a little bit about the product. And this is not super interesting, right? People care mostly about solving their problems or getting something that makes them happy, let's say. I don't think that mask will be the thing that will focus on bringing them a lot of happiness. But if they're healthy, they're of course happy. So yeah, there's a little bit of technical explanation here. We'll try to make it as engaging as possible, as consumable as possible. Like I always say, try to explain it to your grandma, and if you explain it well to your grandma, then everybody will get it from the video. And in the twist, like I said, we'll try to come up with something that may surprise them. In this case, we're already having the moment of surprise a little bit that the other masks don't work in the beginning. So maybe we can consider bringing this to the bottom here, because that could be a surprise. And these parts, they don't necessarily mean that the beginning has to be this long and the second part has to be this long. This is like just a structure that you follow to make sure you've covered everything in the video, because this structure worked for thousands of years. So it's a very proven story structure, and it gives you the confidence that you're following the right path when designing the video. Right. So in the last phase, we want people, definitely, this is very clear for any business, that you need to create a call to action here. You need people to take some action. So in this case, we already know what we want them to do. In here, we have the product video, and either the sales partner is presenting it, either people are watching it on our website, and we want them to connect with us. We want them to, if they have more questions, if they want to buy the product, if they want to learn about it, so connect with us here. And we put the contact information in there. Right, so doing this very quickly so we can make it up in time. Let's say in here, we're saying, are you tired at work wearing a mask? So at the same time, we could add, we could transform it a little bit to something like, do you want to have a mask that actually lets you breathe and gives you the best protection possible? Yeah, could be a good message here. So we can already delete this. And I think this is quite a strong argument in the beginning. So in here, we're of course saying that our product from innovative material can do that for you. Yeah, it's let's say the main goal of this phase is to present the solution, which is our product. And in here, we're getting to the explanation. So in here, it's all about the benefits of the product. And in here, we're saying, you know, why our material is better. We're also saying here, how come you can breathe better through it. And so on. Yeah, so we are trying to define, let's say, the factual stuff behind our arguments, because we're saying, yes, our product is great, you can breathe through it. So here we have to explain how that happens. Yeah, this is the important part, to actually have like actually people trust us. So we definitely need to present the arguments. Yes, the engagement will drop, definitely. Some people may leave the video at this point, but they know, even when they would leave the video at this point, that they know that, yes, they will remember this is a good product, there's a science behind it, it's maybe thoroughly tested. Yeah, we've named that in the beginning. And in here, in the twist, we're saying, connecting to why our material is better, maybe. So this could be the last thing here to explain and quickly connect. So our material is better. And actually, did you know that most of the current mask doesn't protect you, that they're only certified for bacteria? So maybe it doesn't help you at all. Did you think about that? Yeah. And we say, yes, we think about it, we care about we actually care about protection. And right there is already some differentiator here. I see there is a question, Tom.
Absolutely.
Yes, there's a
yeah. So
good
let's
question.
let's make it a small pause. How
Yes.
can we avoid turning our video content into just another hard sell?
Yeah, that is a very good question. So, which direction to take it from? So I guess it of course all depends on the way you present stuff and the way you communicate as a company. If you're an e-shop, and you're selling products, you probably want to go hard sell, right? Because there is a big performance marketing in there, and you want to have let's say a quick content for a lot of products, and you're not going to be designing a really great story behind any product here, right? And if you're doing something like this, so you're creating a video that people will invest some time watching. So in the second phase, it's definitely easier to dodge the hard sell. So when people are watching this video, they're already interested in the product. And in this case, you can think about different ways of presenting this story, which is actually the part that's right here, the visual side. Yeah. So in the visual side, you can take multiple approaches. The structure will basically stay the same, but you can present it differently. And so for example, in here, you could turn this video, even though you have this structure, you could turn this video into not a strictly presentational thing. So like, yeah, there is maybe a person wearing a mask here, can breathe, and so on. But you could maybe turn it into some interview with real people saying their experience. So it could start with maybe people saying, wow, it's really great material. I can really breathe through it. Wow, I'm surprised. So it could be a demonstration, something that differentiates you a little bit. It could be a story of a person maybe that your product really helped. You could start with the person saying, I had really, I'm asthmatic. I had problems when I was wearing the mask, and this product really helped me. And you can turn it more into focusing on this. Yeah, we can turn it more into focusing on how we can actually help people, how we can actually protect them, because this is something that matters for our company, right? This is how we're presenting ourselves, and this is very much connected with the values. So one of the ways, definitely not to do another hard sell, is to grab your values and show them to people. Yeah, show them how you're thinking about these things. Have more content on why these things matter to you, why you're trying to create a high quality product, that this is about, let's say, a greater good, and so on. So it's very hard to answer this question very quickly in a short amount of time, and it very much depends on the case. So I could give more better examples, but did I at least a little bit answer your question, let's say, with this visual approach, or a different take on the story structure?
I'm sure you did, Dan. As for me, in our experience, the best added value to these videos, so they are not hard selling, are focusing on values and stories. Yeah.
Perfect.
There is another question, Dan, if I may, or you wish to?
Yes, I can see it now.
Oh, perfect.
Thanks, Tom. So how long does it take to create such a video strategy? Well, to do it properly, this is just a very brief introduction. To do it properly, we would probably spend around 3 to 5 hours here in this board, trying to redefine everything, very detailed, and to be able to have the time, which is something I actually don't have here, the opportunity to discuss with the customer. If I'm doing it myself, I have to have my team there. We have to discuss about priorities, and how we can maybe improve things, and so on. So yeah, a reasonable amount of time to do this right would be 3 to 5 hours, and the output should be a quite a well structured brief for creating the content. And of course, on the same canvas, I can copy this over, this whole part over. Sorry, I have the question from me here. Copy this whole story part over and do it for another content. Yeah. So I can of course try to create more stories to have a set, which is always the recommended approach, to have a set of videos, because one video won't save the day. It's people go through different phases, and you need to address them properly in each phase with a different type of content, differently focused content. So it makes sense to create more of these videos at once. So I have a well-connected set. So when people go from one video to another, it's a natural transition. Yeah, so just to repeat the answer again, 3 to 5 hours, I would say, to do this properly. There is another question from Abhishek. I see. How can we make the right customers see our video? Well, that is of course a very tough question to answer right away, like generally. But of course, this happens through the distribution. So in here, I for example, in the funnel, I wasn't very specific, but social media here could be, for example, LinkedIn, yeah, which is probably a good media, a good social media for this company, because they're mostly B2B. And so they're trying to show the partners they're doing things great, and that they're a worthy partner for them as well to sell their product. And for example, on LinkedIn, there are great options of targeting. So of course, targeting is super important. Every social media, every platform handles it a little bit differently. But if you know well your target audience profile, you can design the targeting quite precisely. So ideally, you target the right people, because if, of course, the targeting is not set right, the people that you target are not going to be really related to your product, and you will spend a lot of money on such a campaign where you're addressing a huge, let's say, target audience that's unspecific. So I can't answer super precisely, but on every social media or like every channel, let's say Google ads or search ads, YouTube, sorry, that's not connected with the video. So YouTube ads, the LinkedIn ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, TikTok ads, and so on. They have their targeting system. So you can set up your target group in there, and this will help you to address the right people. I hope I answered the question. Okay, and how the success ratio of campaign can be improved using videos. Yes, definitely. Every research shows that videos are a lot more effective in the campaigns, because they communicate the things using a lot of inputs, right? If you have just a banner, it's just a picture. If you have just the text, it's just the text with no picture to create some reference and so on. So video combining all of these assets, copywriting, imagery, voice, music, and so on, creates a very compact and engaging piece of content. And that's why it's the most used marketing tool right now, because it's just the most effective tool for communication now. So if you're using a well-designed video that's engaging and people will actually hear you out through watching the video, then of course the campaign will be more efficient, because hopefully you'll have more click-throughs, and when people click through and arrive to your website, again, there is a great video explaining your product, and it's not just a bunch of text that nobody reads nowadays. Then it's a lot more engaging way how to communicate with the client. So it's all about the communication, like everywhere, and the video is more efficient at it. So definitely using videos in your campaigns will improve them if they're designed right. That's why we even had this webinar, to show that there's a lot of thinking involved about making a good piece of content, that it's not just about kicking the first things off and having it there. Also, there's the visual side of things. So you have to consider a lot about your audience and company in order to create something that you won't create a cartoonish video for an audience that's 50 years old, and so on. So yeah, that's another aspect. But in general, definitely videos are a lot more effective in the campaigns than other content. Right. So I think I've answered all the questions here. And when we still have you here, at least a lot of you who's left, I would definitely appreciate a lot hearing your feedback on what we've done here today, so we can improve it for the next time. And at the same time, if I can ask you, Tom, to prepare the poll, at the same time, definitely, if you want to learn something more about this approach, you can either contact me directly, or you can also attend a whole course that I have created about this, and we'll be sharing the course with you shortly after the webinar. And in the course, of course, you'll spend a lot more time in the canvas and thinking about the strategy here, because this is, of course, very accelerated. It's just an example of how can you use it. But yeah, and there's going to be a great offer for those who attended, since it's the first run as well. We want to give something to gonna create a 50% discount there for people who's been on the webinar. So thank you. Tom, do we have the poll running?
Yes, it is running, and everyone, thank you for your participation again. You have seduced 70% then of the people. Sorry to present it this way. No, people is happy out of this webinar. Still, 40% didn't get what they came for.
Okay, that's I think very important to hear. And if you can comment on what you were expecting more to get, or if you would need this to be a little bit more detailed, I'll be very happy to hear that, so I can improve it for next time. Thank you, thank you. Yes, so that is all for today. We're already a little bit stretching. So I'm happy to hear that at least for most of you, this was helpful and maybe open your eyes on certain things. I wish to create this better. I wish to make it better, and help you out more to get what you came for. So if you can leave the feedback either in the event, or write it to me, or here in the chat, I'll be very happy to do that next time. And thank you again so much, everyone, for attending the webinar. And I hope we'll have the opportunity to maybe speak in person or on a call soon. Thank you, everyone.